Due to the global current situation that shall not be named because YouTube doesn't allow it, you might be getting a $1,200 check from the US government. Recently, the US government just passed a legislation for a $2 trillion bailout. That is huge. Can you even imagine how much money that is? Just to give you an idea, this is what $1 million looks like. Didn't look as much as I thought it would. This is what $100 million looks like. Yeah, now we're getting a lot more respectable. Now this is what $1 billion looks like. That can last several generations to make any family happy. And now, finally, are you ready for it? This is $1 trillion. Dude, that's 12 zeros. Oh yeah, and go ahead and double that. Now you have $2 trillion. No government bailout has ever been this big. The last bailout that we've had was in 2009, and that was for $787 billion. Back when we had the housing crisis and people kept thinking that the houses could keep going up and could never come down, yeah, that's basically how that happened. So why is the US government giving a bailout so huge that is more than twice as the last one? Due to the current situation that shall not be named, most people are encouraged to stay at home right now, which means a lot of businesses are being put on pause. Many have lost jobs, and the market is in panic mode. Panic, 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 panic. When people stop making money, that means people stop spending money, which means businesses stop making money, which means banks who loaned the businesses the money stop making money, which means the investors who funded the banks and some businesses stop making money, which means the investors are unhappy. And when investors are unhappy, they stop investing, and they even take some of the money that they've already invested and de-invest them, or take it back, or stop, or whatever it takes to get their money back, because now they're in panic mode. Panic, 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 panic. And which means nobody is spending any money, which means the economy starts to shut down until so the US government is really hoping that this $2 trillion stimulus can prevent the economy from slowing down even more to eventually speeding it back up to where it was before. Alright, now let's talk about the actual $2 trillion bailout and the breakdown of how it works. $250 billion will be going directly to individuals. Another $250 billion will be going towards unemployment insurance benefits. $500 billion will be going towards loans and grants towards distressed businesses. Now, there is a condition for businesses who are receiving this type of money. First of all, they cannot issue dividends to their investors until a year after they've paid off their loans. They also need to maintain 90% of the payroll from now up to September. They will also be prohibited from buying back their own stocks to enrich their shareholders, and because this totally makes sense, there will be a limit to how much they can compensate their executives. $377 billion will be going towards small businesses, $100 billion will be going to hospitals, and $150 billion will be going to state and local governments. Now, specifically for the $250 billion that's going straight to individuals, individuals with an adjusted gross income of less than $75,000 are eligible to receive the full $1,200. Now, if you make more than $75,000, this $1,200 payout will start to phase out as you reach $99,000, and if you make above $99,000, then you're not eligible for it at all. The payment phases out by $50 for every additional $1,000 of adjusted gross income that you have. Married couples get exactly double of what I just mentioned. So for couples who have an adjusted gross income of less than $150,000, you're eligible for $2,400 from the government. This also starts to phase out as you start reaching $198,000 of adjusted gross income. And the phase out rate is the same. For every additional $1,000 of adjusted gross income that you have, that's $50 less of a check from the government. In addition, for every child in your household less than the age of 17, you get an additional $500. The adjusted gross income is going to be based on the 2019 tax returns if you've already filed it, or the 2018 tax returns if you have not filed your 2019 tax returns yet. For now though, it's unclear how exactly the government is going to track down the people who don't make enough to file taxes in order to give them their money. That remains to be seen. So let's talk about unemployment. For the $250 billion going towards unemployment insurance benefits, workers who are unemployed will be receiving $600 a week for 4 months. And on top of that, they'll also be getting their unemployment benefits, which varies by state. Now that you know the facts, I do have some of my 2 cents to share. Now keep in mind that I'm just some random guy on YouTube making videos who doesn't really know what they're talking about, so definitely take what I say as a grain of salt. This is not legal advice. All the disclaimers, everything You heard it. Okay. First of all, I want to say congratulations to the US government for raising the debt ceiling even higher than it already is. I mean, not like 2 trillion is really going to make that much of a difference considering it's already this high. But hey, America wants to be number one. Well, number one of debt, they are. You know, it really goes to saying, are we ever actually going to pay off all of this debt ever? Because it really doesn't seem like that's happening anytime soon. This debt ceiling just keeps going up and up and up and up. There's never a situation where it kind of goes down. But hey, just keep borrowing on insanely low interest rates without a firm deadline to actually repay them all. You know, that's totally fine. Just keep going with that. Whatever works for the government, you know? So the other problem that I have with this bailout is that $500 billion is going towards loans and grants to distressed businesses. Now, I can kind of understand why you might want to have airline industry around, because that enables transportation of farther distances at shorter times. Sure, that makes sense, kind of. But explain to me why cruise lines also get a cut of this. Cruise lines, dude, they're not really transporting us anywhere other than, you know, for vacation. There's nothing practical. It's all leisure. This is something that just blows my mind. I don't understand. And cruise lines, by the way, they are the most notorious for not paying taxes because they register their vessels in other countries where it's super cheap, like the Philippines. Now, they're not paying taxes, yet they get a huge bailout. Explain to me how this makes sense, because I don't see how it makes sense. So I mentioned earlier that 100 billion of the 2 trillion bailout is going to go towards medical. That is 5% of the total. That is it. Only 5% of the bailout money is going towards medical. Our healthcare infrastructure right now is as bad as it is. I mean, come on. Some more money into it wouldn't hurt, right? So what I'm saying is, we should just let these big businesses die for not managing their cash flow well. We need to punish them for thinking so short-sighted that they would get hit by something like this. If they get hit by something like this and you're that big, come on. If you have not been managing your finances well, you deserve to die. Sure, when it comes to some essential industries like the airline business, yes, transportation will be harder for now, but that makes room for new businesses to grow. Maybe there will be an airline business that starts up and revolutionizes the entire airline industry and are able to provide maybe even cheaper flights over time. Of course, for the brief period, in the short term, the prices will be high because the supply is low and the demand is high. But if you keep propping up these big businesses who keep making these mistakes again and again and time again, we're just encouraging this bad behavior. And that is not what we want in the long run. It might work for the short run, but it's not going to work in the long run. So guys, stop living paycheck to paycheck. Monitor your spending and your finances. Spend below your means. Always have 6 months of savings if possible, and you'll be able to weather any storm that comes your way, including this one. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching the video. If you liked it, please consider subscribing and liking the video. It's been real. As always, there's more content coming soon.